In this video, I'll explain what post-traumatic stress disorder is. I'll discuss how the symptoms arise, how they're maintained, and what you can do to break the cycle. To explain what post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, is, I would like to make the following comparison. Let's say you're walking outside. You want to cross the street, but you're not paying attention. And there's a car coming that you didn't see, and it suddenly brakes hard to avoid a collision. You hear the screeching tires, a loud honk, and you feel startled. So, what happens to your anxiety level at that moment? It obviously increases rapidly. Your heart pounds in your throat and you feel paralyzed, and as the car drives away, your anxiety slowly decreases. You continue walking, thinking about the whole thing for a while. Getting home, you might talk about it and it may cross your mind again before the evening ends, and as your attention gradually diminishes further, the entire event gets processed in your memory. Next day, you may think about it again, but you no longer feel as tense about it as the day before. Now, if you experience a real trauma, essentially the same thing happens, but on a much larger scale. You undergo something very impactful, causing your anxiety to skyrocket. As we just saw in the near collision, you would normally take the time to think about it, talk it through, slowly process it. However, this time something's changed. Because when you go back to that intense event in your thoughts, the recollection often brings such a strong level of anxiety that you prefer to push it away. You don't want to think about it, because recalling the memory feels like it's happening all over again. You want to avoid that sense of unsafety, so you push the memory away. Your anxiety decreases, but it does so artificially because you block the painful memory. And in the short term, pushing away the thoughts of the bad experience you had does indeed provide some relief. But in the long run, problems arise. Because a significant part of the processing that had to be done hasn't taken place yet. What happens next is that your brain reminds you that an essential part of the memory still needs to be processed, bringing the memory back up again. But you don't want to think about it, so you push the memory away again. And this cycle of pushing away the memory and the memory resurfacing goes on and lasts even longer than it normally would have taken to process the traumatic event. Now, those upsetting re-experiences you go through, the flashbacks and nightmares, are the memories being brought back up again by your brain. Because memories work like a ball you're trying to push under water. The harder you push, the harder they come back. And your brain doesn't do that to bother you, its only intention is to help. It's trying to remind you that some crucial events from the past need to be resolved before you can move forward with a sense of safety in the present. Okay, so the question is, what can you do about this? As just discussed, pushing away the painful memories actually leads to their recurring. If you can, try not to suppress them, but instead endure them when they arise. It is also important not to avoid anything else that may remind you of the trauma, such as certain places, TV shows, news articles, or topics of conversation, or any other factor that may remind you of the traumatic experience. Talk to people around you about what you've been through, or take the time to write about it extensively, instead of burying it on the ground. There are good and effective treatments for PTSD that a psychologist, psychotherapist, or psychiatrist can provide. The techniques most commonly used in therapy to process trauma are EMDR and imaginal exposure, which is a form of cognitive behavioral therapy specifically designed for post-traumatic stress disorder. Using these techniques, a therapist will help you to go back to the memory or memories that you're trying to process, and with the use of these methods, he or she will help you to work through them. This will eventually lead to you being able to bear the painful memory instead of pushing it away, leading to a significant decrease in the general anxiety that you feel when thinking of the traumatic event. Now, the treatment I describe here often works very well and provides you with the opportunity to move forward without those distressing memories. However, trauma therapy is not easy and requires perseverance and commitment to work your way through it. Extensive research shows, however, that these techniques work incredibly well and that therapy can make a significant contribution to your recovery. I wish you the best of luck.